Yo sup, SimY3. You guys all know what my 4 favorite TCG decks are, and of course the last one that I have not done a Duel Links version of yet is Dragunity's. So yeah, let's just have a look at this Dragunity list I have. So the most recent box added a lot of support for Dragunities on Duel Links, so quite exciting times if you like this deck. Yeah, they added Armogram, Legatus, Guisame, Gorm Fiber, Ravine, yeah, quite a few good stuff, pushing this deck into quite playable status right now. It's not like the best of the best. I wouldn't exactly recommend this deck for something like Kyber Cup Stage 2 that just happened a few days ago. It's still a little bit not quite there yet, but it is quite decent if you just want to knock out like a King of Games or a Kyber Cup Stage 1. This deck would just like easily achieve that for you, steamroll through your opponents. But yeah, as for the deck, so I've gone with a 7.5 axis build if you like. I tried both the pure 8 axis, so that's like no Guisame, only Kus, going into Barca, going into Ascalon, and if Ascalon dies, I can float into Gorm Fiber. But I found that to be not that good, because like Gorm Fiber is the beast this format. Like, DD Crow is the #1 card in Duel Links right now for this format. It just wrecks like all of the top decks. And Gorm Fiber is just DD Crow on crack. Like, I'm not running DD Crow in this deck, you could. It's not bad like DD Crow. Like, a hand trap in this deck is not bad. Because like if you have a Book of Moon as the last card in your hand, and you have to make the decision on setting it and using it, or keeping it in hand in case you top deck a Ravine, right? Like if you have a hand trap, you can delay that decision till your opponent's turn, so it's not bad in this deck. But Gorm Fiber is just DD Crow on steroids. If their deck gets wrecked by DD Crow, you can probably wreck them with Gorm Fiber. And if their deck doesn't get wrecked by DD Crow, then you don't want to have DD Crow in your deck. So that's the reason why I'm not running it. But yeah, DD Crow is the best card in the format right now, and Gorm Fiber is just a better DD Crow. And if I run the pure 8-axis build with only Kus and no Guisame, I can't proactively make this card, which is like I just said is so good right now. Which made me run another build, which is the pure 7-axis build, which is like Guisame plus 4 into Gorm Fiber, equip Guisame into Ascalon, because ultimately Ascalon is still your game-ending win condition. But yeah, the tempo of the deck wasn't that good. So like if you both of Guisame's reviving something else in effect and summoning itself from equip effect, both of these are once per turns. So if you Guisame revive a level 4 going to Gorm Fiber, equip Guisame summon itself going to Ascalon, that's fine. But if you do something like normal ducks, equip Guisame, summon Guisame, go into Gorm Fiber, equip Guisame, you can't go into Ascalon that turn this way. So yeah, that deck had like pacing issues, which is why I ended up running the hybrid 7.5 axis Dragunity build if you like. And as a result, I had enough tuners to run Cards of Consonance and go over 20. So I'll talk about that a bit later. But anyways, the list: monsters, 3 Kus, 1 Armogram. This card is pretty hard to pull off actually. Probably wouldn't recommend running it really. It's really good when it goes off in the late game. But Duel Links, again, only 4,000 life points. You rarely go into the late game. Turn 1, like even if you open Ravine, you're not going to have 2 in the grave for Gram to banish. Like you either get stopped by like a Book of Moon or something before your synchro plays, in which case your graveyard is pretty empty, or you actually synchro climb into Ascalon. But Ascalon is going to banish quite a lot of material from your graveyard to get rid of their field, which makes Armogram like not have enough once again. So this card is like pretty hard to use. I guess the main reason I'm using it is because I pulled a prismatic one. But this is optional, you could cut it if you want. 1 Legatus, this is the very versatile card in the deck. Just one to search off Ravine. Yeah, the Legatus, it's the main reason why I'm able to skimp out on back row removal, since it is a once per turn pop back row. Another thing is usually when you make Ascalon, this is only 3/3, so you need like a random guy you can just special summon. something like Armogram, Legatus, or just extra Kuses to summon to go for 4k. That's another main role of it in this deck. And of course the last one is just making double synchros, like if you Barker equip 2 tuners and then you just drop a Legatus, you can make double synchros. That's a very powerful play as well, especially if you like Escalon the whole field, but they might have a hand trap so you can't exactly OTK them, but if you can stick like the Escalon to and a Garum Fiber and go for game, and if they stop you with a hand trap you still have the Garum Fiber, just like having some disruption on your opponent's turn. Yeah, that's really powerful as well. 2 Senators, yeah, so ignoring 24, even if you're just running 3 Ravines and 20 cards, that's only like a 50% chance to open it in like your starting 4 card hand, so you do need some extra consistency. So yeah, Senators, yeah, it's not the best consistency card because sometimes you do have to discard things you don't want like Ducks, or sometimes you just don't have any Dragunity cards to discard at all, because we are running quite a few non-Dragunity cards. But yeah, it is the best we got. And 2 Ducks and 2 Goisame, these are your main normal summons. These are the main cards you want to search turn after turn off Ravine to keep the pressure on your opponent. Yeah, Goisame, it probably doesn't need to be at 2. 2 mainly bumps the tuner count for cards of consonants up to 8 if you count the Ravines, as well as the Goisames and the Kuses. You have 8 targets for cards of consonants. In a 24 card deck, that's like a 80% chance to have a live consonants. If you cut the deck down to 20, 7 would also be like a 80% chance to have a live cards of consonants. So yeah, I just wanted to have at least 8 in the deck. Spells, Monster Reborn, pretty good. Blizzard, now I'm running Blizzard as my back row hate card. This used to be Forbidden Lands, but I realized that there are quite a lot of things that Forbidden Lands can't stop, but we need to stop. For example, an MST on the Dragon's Ravine, or an MST on your Kus effect. These are potentially turn ending, and since we are only playing with 4k life points in Duel Links, a potentially game ending play that you really need to stop. So yeah, Blizzard, yeah, they do get the card back, but you're trying to end it on that turn, so hopefully it doesn't matter. It's also very power spell based format, so like Miracle Fusion into Sunrise, search Miracle Fusion again, and maybe they just open a Miracle Fusion and Miracle Fusioning a 3rd time, you know, like that's what one of the top deck does, and you know, Blizzard just shuts off their whole turn. So yeah, it's pretty decent defensively as well. So yeah, and if they're running traps, like Legatus will probably wreck them if they're running traps. If they're running traps, their deck isn't that good anyways, which is why like I think this is better than Forbidden Lands. 3 Book of Moons, still the best staple. 3 cards of consonants, the mass basically. 3 Ravines and 20 versus 3 Ravines and 3 cards of consonants and 24. The consistency difference isn't that big. And if the consistency difference isn't that big, you should always be running a bigger deck. Furthermore, the consonances do give you some power as well. So like, just assuming that the consistency is exactly the same, these are just basically free power cards for you to get like more Kuses in the grave. Again, like I've said, Escalon by itself is only 3/3 damage. But if you have 2 Kuses in the graveyard when you Barker, you can be attacking with a Kus and an Escalon for 4/3. So yeah, like a consonants could just be the difference between game and not game right there, which is why I've ultimately settled on 24 with consonants. 3 Ravine, of course, and the last card, Treacherous Trap Hole. This card should be banned. It's absolutely ridiculous. I was running 2 with the theory that like you can resolve 1 and then discard another one with Ravine, but it's really awkward when you open 2 even with Ravine, because that turn 1, even though the second Treacherous Trap Hole is there to be discarded by Ravine, you can't discard it until you resolve the first Treacherous Trap Hole. So it's pretty annoying, so I just cut 1. Extra deck 3 Escalon. This is still your main win condition going second, or just like your main win condition on turn 3 if you're going first. 1 Vadriana, 1 Barker, and yeah, I'm not running double Barker. Vadriana attack boosting to 3800 does out some problem monsters occasionally. And yeah, lastly, 2 Goblin Fiber. Again, like I've said, this card just wrecks the format. Like, top 3 decks, what are they? Like, Galaxy Eyes, DD Crow on the first turn, or Goblin Fiber on the first turn. Like, Galaxy Eyes just lose. Rose Dragons, Goblin Fiber on the first turn will set them back a lot. It's not auto lose, but they're probably gonna lose, like, very likely gonna lose. Heroes, if you Goblin Fiber first turn, you basically negate both their Miracle Fusion and their Liquid Drawing 2, which again is pretty much game. The main problem before the new wave of support is that this deck had no way, nothing to do on turn 1. Like, turn 1, before Goblin Fiber and like Ravine and all these other support, was basically like make 1 or maybe 2 Ascalons in like defense mode and passing to your opponent. That was your best turn 1. And hoping they can't get over the 3-2 defense, or hoping like they have to use some destruction effects which let you float into a guy and then they can't get over that guy. You know, like that was the game plan before Goblin Fiber, but now you actually have a really, really good destruction extra deck monster for when you're going first. But yeah, that's the deck. I would show you some replays, but I recently just upgraded to version 7 and Konami deleted all my replays. I think they're removing all replays in anticipation of the Link Reigns World release, because when that's released we get the extra monster zone, so they're like removing all old replays without the extra monster zone layout field. So I guess like that's my speculation on why they deleted it all. But yeah, and I guess one more thing to talk about for the skill. It doesn't matter what the skill is. I'm just using Paradox because I have all skills on all characters. This is the last skill right here that I need to get, so I'm just farming PvP for skills. But yeah, your skill doesn't really matter. I would probably suggest something like Life Boost Alpha. But yeah, the skill doesn't really matter, which is pretty good if you want to farm skills in PvP as well. So yeah, that's the last of my Duel Links videos for the foreseeable future, and I hope you enjoyed this mini series.